We are going to begin talking about how to build a web page. To do this in kind of a video format, what I'm going to do is we're going to go through a couple videos on HTML and CSS. And then I'm going to kind of shift my setup here a little bit, and I'm going to build a web page with just HTML in front of you so you can see kind of how I do it. All the warts, all the blemishes. We'll see if it works, see if my browser works, see if it hates me as usual. And I'm sure I will goof it up and we'll go through the troubleshooting. And it'll just be kind of a demo. In my class, I call this Code with Teacher. And you guys get to make fun of my typing and everything. It's a lot of fun. But we're going to go through that as a demo so that you can see it. But first, I really need to kind of set the table and give you a basic understanding of the HTML, and then a basic understanding of styling. And then I will it'll probably be a little bit longer video, but it'll be one where you could literally pull out your computer and I will take it slow enough that you could go along with me, or hit pause, catch up, hit pause, the YouTube way, right? And it'll be cool, all right? So we're going to go through a few videos where we kind of lay the groundwork and get the theory and how to do it and what the rules are and stuff like that. And then we'll get into actually building some web page, okay? So let's jump into it. We're going to start with HTML. And we're going to start, like everything, there's some vocabulary. Hypertext Markup Language is what HTML stands for. If you're in my class, you will see that on an assessment, right? I mean, come on. HTML, Hypertext Markup Language. Not hard, okay? All right, but we're going to talk about the first tag of any web page. And here's the funny part. That is not an HTML tag, okay? Little irony, but it is not an HTML tag. Now, if you want to speak correct nerd, that is not an exclamation point. That is bang, okay? So bang doctype HTML is a tag. It is an XML tag, but it is not an HTML tag, okay? It's not part of the HTML standard. It's an informational comment to the browser, okay, that tells the browser this is a web page, okay? This is a hypertext markup page coming to you, okay? So the browser goes, okay, it's not just an image, it's not something else, it's a web page. So I got to load a web page, okay? It should be the first tag of your document per the W3C standard, the Worldwide Consortium Standard on Web Pages. And we'll talk about that in a later video. So, doctype HTML with a bang, okay? That should be the first tag in your document. And as we go through this set of slides, I'm going to kind of build a fake document with you as we go so you can see where it goes. But big thing to remember for that is it is not an HTML tag. Hint, you'll probably see that on a quiz or a test if you're in my class. Okay? It's an informational comment to the browser. Now, I'm going to say this a couple times, and you may or may not believe me. You probably will if you've done any kind of web surfing at all in your life. But I want you to always understand that your browser hates you. And it is lazier than the average teenager that doesn't want to clean their room. Okay? If a browser doesn't like, can't find, or is confused by your syntax, it's just going to stop, roll over, and play dead. Okay? If you see nothing, no change to what you've been doing, it's not loading, your browser got to something that confused it and went, I'm done. I'll just be over here. Okay? So if you go into this understanding that your browser is lazy and it hates you, you won't get frustrated. Okay? So keep that in mind as we go through this, especially when I get into the demo, because I promise you, all of my browsers hate me. Okay? So, doctype HTML, that's the first tag with a little bit too much explanation. All right. The next tag is the outer wrapper that needs to go around the entire content of your web page. And it should be of no surprise that it's the HTML tag. Okay, so I'm using this tag because it's the outer wrapper, if you will, to let you understand that there is an open and a close version of each of those that tag. Okay, so the slash means we are now done with that tag. Okay, so that anything that goes between these is contained in that tag's region. Okay, and you'll see more of that very quickly. So this is the outer wrapper, and again, notice the slash is the closing of that tag. Okay, anything in between the open and the close is contained in that tag's region. Now, there are also some tags that are self-closing. In particular, there's like an image tag, and then there's the line break, BR space slash. And what happens is this slash in a self-closing tag, you won't have two of them. You'll just have this one, maybe some attributes. We'll talk about those in a minute. And then the slash will come right before the last bracket. Okay? And that tells the browser, look, this is a self-contained tag. There's no region to worry about. Just do this, move to the next tag. Okay? And again, we'll show you some examples of that. So far, this is what our web page looks like. Not a lot in it, right? But we've told the browser, hey, this is a web page, and we've created a region that will hold all of the content of our web page. So the next thing that we want to think about is what goes in here, obviously, right? What's the content? When do we get to what we see? Well, in HTML, there are two subsections of a web page because they need a place for you to put what's called metadata. It is not content that is displayed. Okay? If you're going to put scripting, if you're going to put styling, if you're going to put other pieces of information that the browser needs but isn't part of the content of that page, it needs a section that metadata can go in. Okay? It needs kind of a head or a header, and I'm using those terms very carefully because they have different meanings. Header is not the right word. It's the head section. It's kind of the area before you really get to the content, if you want to think of it that way. And so the next tag we're going to talk about is the head content. Okay? It's the head section. It's where the metadata is stored. It also holds the title tag and page level scripts. And again, we'll get into that a little bit later. But for now, just understand that what's in the head section is not seen in the web page. Now, the title tag is a unique tag that sets the text, and if you have an icon, it sets the text and or the icon on the browser tab that opens up when it loads this particular page. And we will show you that in the demo, how we can change the title. But what is in the head is scripting, any CSS. So but for scripting, if you did like PHP or JavaScript, you could put it in the head of a given page. The title tag you would put in the head because that's setting the tab. It's not really part of the page window itself, if you will. So that type of information is what goes in the head. So if we look at our page now, inside HTML we have the head section, and just to kind of show you, I put the title tag in there. Okay? So if we were to render this page, we'd have a problem because it's still missing a section. But the tab of the page would say tab text here. Now obviously that's not a very good tab name, but just to show you what it does, that's where you would put the title tag. Okay, the second big piece of a web page is the body. And this is where all of our content of our web page goes. Okay? So the body is where you're going to do the overwhelming amount of work for your web page. So it's the body section. This is where all of your content goes. So I've added the body. Now it goes inside the HTML wrapper. You have the head, And notice the head needs to be closed before you get to the body. Okay? And the body needs to be closed before you get to the end of the wrapper. So the HTML contains the head and the body, which comes sequentially. Okay? Now, this content goes here. If I were to load this as an HTML file into a browser, the tab would say, tab title here, and all you would see on the white page is content goes here. This could be hello world. Okay, and we're going to do a hello world as part of the demo. All right, so these are the minimum tags to create a validly structured HTML page. It's pretty simple. We're going to tell the browser with an XML tag that it is an HTML page. We're going to have an outer wrapper of HTML. It's going to have a head section and a body section. And we'll have something in the head section like the title. I like to do that just as a simple rule. And then our content goes in here. Okay? So in the next video, we're going to talk about some of the common content tags that go in the body of a web page so that we can actually have something for people to see when they download our page. Okay? We're not going to go a lot into it because once you start to see what the tags look like and how to use them, you can go look up the hundreds of possible variants of all these tags and begin to play with them yourself very quickly. And what I typically do is have my students make a template of a blank page like this, okay? And then they can just rename it and use it to begin building their pages from there, okay? So that's what we've done. You now know the minimum tags you need to have a valid web page. And from here, on the next video, we're going to talk about some of the content tags that you'll want to start with to play with. And that'll be a lot of fun, and that should get you going. We will then quickly jump into styling. But for now, that's the end of this video. I'll see you guys on the other side.